Brenda Lee's voice captivated America before she had fully entered her teenage years. Her songs dominated radio waves, television stages, and national consciousness, earning her the nickname Little Miss Dynamite. But beneath the applause lay a voice carrying sorrow, restraint, and a sense of loss unusual for someone so young. This tension between childhood innocence and emotional maturity drew both fascination and pressure. The music industry accelerated her rise, leaving little room for pause. Her story is not one of instant tragedy, but of a life shaped by relentless movement, high expectation, and a remarkable resilience that would quietly endure for decades. Early life in Georgia. Brenda Mae Tarpley was born on December 11, 1944, in Atlanta, Georgia, into a poor working-class family. Her childhood was defined not by stability, but by constant movement following her father's unstable construction jobs. Life was cramped, with the family often sleeping together in small houses without running water. One rare comfort existed: a battery-powered radio. It opened a window to the wider world and offered a place where young Brenda's voice began to take shape. Singing became more than pastime. It became survival, a means to navigate a life defined by scarcity, uncertainty, and the need to endure. Singing as survival, Brenda's earliest performances were practical acts of necessity. Before age 3, she sang on the counters of neighborhood candy stores in exchange for coins or sweets. The community first heard her in the Baptist church, where her voice naturally extended spiritual life rather than seeking acclaim. By age 5, she was winning local singing contests and appearing regularly on Atlanta radio. Singing became a structured part of her day, not simply a hobby. These early experiences shaped her discipline, her ability to perform under pressure, and the unique emotional depth of her voice, a voice that would later astonish audiences with its maturity and intensity. A childhood interrupted. In 1953, Brenda's father died in a workplace accident, leaving the family without financial or emotional security. For a child already performing under public scrutiny, this loss accelerated her responsibilities. Singing became even more central, providing income and structure amid grief. Her performances grew more frequent, spanning local fairs, radio programs, and television shows like TV Ranch and Peach Blossom Special. Moving between cities, she adapted to changing stages, cameras, and audiences. The pace of her life left little room for ordinary childhood experiences. By necessity, Brenda's voice matured far faster than her years, carrying the weight of adult emotion before she fully understood it herself. The first national spotlight. Brenda's breakthrough came in 1955, when she traveled with her family to Augusta and, on impulse, sang Jambalaya on stage during Red Foley's tour with Ozark Jubilee. That performance was not random luck, but the result of years of practice in constrained, demanding spaces. Weeks later, she made her official Ozark Jubilee debut, formally beginning her professional career before leaving childhood behind. From that point, her life became a continuous current of performance and expectation. The voice that had matured early guided a body still developing, and the relentless pace of shows, recordings, and travel became the framework of her existence. Facing the industry's limits. By 1957, Brenda faced her first major career obstacle when her 5-year contract with Ozark Jubilee ended prematurely due to legal disputes over management and labor obligations. Though the press portrayed it as routine, for Brenda, it was a stark encounter with the fragility of her professional life. She realized that recordings, performances, and achievements were fleeting, dependent on surviving documentation and memory. Her career had always required living in the present, but now even the past seemed impermanent. These early challenges forged a resilience that would allow her to navigate decades of shifting musical landscapes without succumbing to the pressures that ended many other child stars. Life as a young star. Brenda's teenage years were defined by an exhausting schedule of tours, recordings, and television appearances. Her voice, dense, powerful, and emotionally mature, distinguished her, yet her body and mind were still developing. She adapted to every stage, microphone, and camera, navigating professional demands far beyond her years. The music industry's relentless pace and expectation of continuous output shaped her early identity. Yet even in the most intense moments, Brenda demonstrated a clarity of purpose, preserving a personal integrity that would sustain her through changing musical trends and market pressures. Her early career was a study in balance, immense talent propelled forward by sheer necessity and discipline. Stepping away from the spotlight. Unlike many contemporaries, Brenda Lee did not collapse under industry pressure when musical tastes shifted. Instead, she quietly stepped away from pop's center, preserving her voice and her dignity. The silence of her later years was not emptiness, but a deliberate withdrawal from relentless public expectation. She allowed her music to live independently of her personal presence, letting recordings continue to resonate without constant performance. This choice reflected wisdom born from decades of experience, a recognition that legacy is maintained through persistence, not spectacle. Brenda's story challenges the conventional narrative of fame, demonstrating that stepping back can be a form of endurance and self-preservation. Autobiography and reflection. In 2002, Brenda recounted her journey in Little Miss Dynamite, reflecting on a life fragmented by professional demands, personal loss, and the necessity of adaptation. The autobiography was not an attempt to reclaim the spotlight, but to impose order on her story, narrating events at her own pace. It revealed a child earning a living through song, a star navigating relentless expectations, and an artist adapting to survive. The book offered insight into the strategies that allowed her to thrive quietly: focus, adaptability, and refusal to let market demands define her entire existence. Brenda's narrative showed how longevity in music often comes from resilience and perspective, not constant visibility. A historic return. In 2023, decades after her early peak, Brenda Lee achieved an unexpected milestone. Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, recorded in 1958, reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. At 79, she became the oldest artist to reach the top, but her response was remarkable in its restraint. She did not launch a comeback campaign or pursue media attention. Instead, she accepted the moment quietly, demonstrating a lifetime approach to fame. Let the music speak for itself. This event highlighted a unique kind of legacy, one not built on strategy or reinvention, but on the enduring power of performance, memory, and cultural resonance. A legacy beyond labels. Brenda Lee's influence spans genres, from pop and rockabilly to country, without being confined to any single style. Her voice became a reference for emotional delivery and influenced generations of female artists across musical boundaries. Yet, her legacy is not just technical or stylistic. It is the paradox of a child star forced to grow too fast, who navigated professional pressures without self-destruction, and whose music remained relevant decades later. Brenda Lee demonstrates that endurance in art often comes from adaptability, focus, and quiet resilience, rather than constant visibility or commercial calculation. The enduring voice. Brenda Lee's story illustrates the power of a voice to transcend its era. She survived early industry pressures, personal loss, and shifting public tastes, all while maintaining integrity and clarity. Her later years were defined by reflection, preservation, and letting music resonate on its own. The delayed recognition of Rocking Around the Christmas Tree shows that true talent may lie dormant but never disappears. Brenda Lee's life reminds us that legacy is often cumulative, quiet, and persistent. Built through decades of consistent artistry and emotional honesty, rather than fleeting trends or staged comebacks. Conclusion: Brenda Lee's journey from child performer to enduring musical icon challenges conventional narratives of fame. She illustrates how early talent, rigorous discipline, and emotional depth can coexist with restraint and reflection. Her withdrawal from the spotlight was not defeat, but strategy, allowing her voice and work to endure beyond fleeting trends. At nearly 80, her music reached a new peak, proving that legacy is timeless. Brenda Lee leaves a model of artistry defined by persistence, adaptability, and integrity. A voice that has traversed the landscape of American music for decades, continuing to resonate long after the performer has stepped away.